According to the biblical accounts, King Salomon transformed Jerusalem into a glorious city that attracted pilgrims worldwide. The temple that Solomon built for God of Israel was a jewel in the crown of this magnificent city. Two destructions of Jerusalem, first by Babylon in 856 BC and then by Rome in AD 70, effectively removed the Jewish holy site from the Temple Mount. Eventually, Jerusalem was conquered by the Muslims, who built the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, where the Jewish people believed the temple stood. But is there any evidence or even remains of the temple built by Solomon? In this episode, we will examine this claim, and I hope that after watching this episode, many of your questions will be answered. Before we begin with the material, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that notifications and like button. It helps me a lot as a creator and it costs nothing, so please consider it. With this out of the way, let's begin our investigation. I am not sure if you are aware, but recently there have been several theories suggesting that the Temple Mount is not the temple's original location. I made 2 episodes about those claims, and if you are interested in seeing them, I will put a link in the description of this episode, so make sure you check them out. They're very interesting in my opinion. To start off this discussion, I want to clarify what I mean when using specific terminology. When I refer to the Jewish temple, I refer to the building of which dimensions we have in the Bible. The temple, built by Solomon, had 2 parts. The first was the Heikal, main chamber or sanctuary, often called the holy place, measuring 40 cubits, that's 60 feet or 18 meters long, and 20 cubits, 30 feet or 9 meters wide. The second part was the Holy of Holies, measuring 20 cubits long and wide. Those are the measurements we find in 2 Chronicles chapter 3. Together, therefore, the structure was 60 cubits long, that's 27 meters, 20 cubits wide, and 30 cubits, that's 14 meters high. On this model, however, you can see that the building is additionally comprised of stairs, a platform, and a porch supported by giant pillars. But those are basically the measurements of the temple. Of course, the temple complex consisted of more structures needed to facilitate many sacrifices performed by the priests. The biblical account tells us that the original temple built by Solomon was destroyed in 586 BC by the Babylonians. When the exiled Jewish people returned from Persian Empire, a second temple was built under the supervision of Ezra and Nehemiah. In 515 BC, the second temple, known as the Zerubbabel temple, was completed. This temple was not as glorious as Solomon's temple, but it had the exact dimensions as the first one. As years passed, the temple complex grew, but the Holy of Holies and the Holy Place dimensions stayed the same. Significant extensions to the temple complex were made in the Hashmonian and Herod the Great periods. The Hashmonians extended the platform on which the temple stood to the south, while Herod the Great expanded the platform to the north, west, and south. No significant extensions to the temple platform were made to the east due to the steep Kidron Valley that made it impossible. Today, when you look at the Temple Mount, you can see the remains of a vast platform built by Herod the Great to enable as many as 1 million pilgrims to perform sacrifices on the Temple Mount during the 3 major holidays of Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. I want to make this clear, however. the platform is not part of the temple building that was totally erased by the Romans. The platform is just a supportive structure that held the temple on the Temple Mount. There is nothing left of the Jewish temple on the Temple Mount today. You may ask, why did the Romans leave the platform and not demolish it? Well, if you have ever been to the western tunnels under the Wailing Wall, you will know why. The stones that Herod used to enlarge the temple are some of the biggest used in construction. A single stone used to hold the platform can be as long as 13.5 meters, that's 44.5 feet, and 3.3 meters, that's 11 feet tall, and weigh hundreds of tons. Believe me, the Romans did their best, and in the Davidson Center Archaeological Park, you can see the stones that were thrown down from the top of the platform. But to get rid of those massive stones that were the foundation of the platform, you would need explosives to move them. Today, when we look at the Temple Mount, we can see Muslim structures that were built on this platform from Herod times. So this is the background of the Temple Mount, the historical background that I wanted to share with you before I will go with today's main topic. So, not to waste any more time, are there any remains that we can find on the Temple Mount today that can help us determine where the original temple built by Solomon stood? Before I continue, I would like to give credit to Holy Land site. I used a lot of information provided by Tom M. Fink on his YouTube channel. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel where you will find some amazing content. We will begin our investigation on the northwest corner of the platform built by the Muslims to hold what is known today as the Dome of the Rock. This smaller platform was built specifically for the Dome of the Rock and was never part of the original platform built by Herod or Nehemiah and Ezra. Looking at this Muslim platform from above, we noticed that one of the stairway is not in line with the Muslim platform, but is in line with the original platform and the eastern wall. Additionally, if we look closer at this stairway, we can see the bottom stones are entirely different than the rest of the stairway. Those stones are much larger than the rest and are from another time period. The stones also have the boss outline, a specially covered outline on a stone made to make the structure look more appealing. Unfortunately, the boss of those stones have been filled with mortar, but some older pictures of the stones show how the boss outline looked. Over the centuries, different kinds of boss styles have been used in different periods. Here you can see the different boss styles during Salomon, Hashmonian, and Herod times. The boss of the stones on the bottom of this stairway indicates that they came from Solomon or Hezekiah time. So this finding would indicate that those stones are part of an original platform built by Solomon himself. The Muslims used those stones as the base to the new staircase leading up to the Dome of the Rock platform. At the north end of those stones, you can also see a corner. This corner goes eastward toward the eastern wall. According to some archaeologists such as Lynn Rittmeyer, this line of the stones going to the eastern wall is the original line of a platform built by Solomon himself. According to the Mishnah, which is a Jewish commentary referring to different aspects of the Jewish law, customs, and measurements, the original platform on which the Temple of Solomon stood was 500 square cubits. A royal cubit is 20.67 inches long, and so each side of the platform would be 861 feet or 262.4 meters long. And guess what? The measurement from this corner made by the vast Salomon stones to the eastern wall is precisely 861 feet or 262.4 meters long. Archaeologists who have been able to see what is beneath the dome of the rock found that this line of the original Solomonic stones continues till the eastern wall. This indicates that thanks to the remains of specific boss stones and the measurements from the Mishnah, we can locate the original position of Solomon's 500 cubit original platform. And if we can identify the platform's place, we can also locate where the temple stood. Now, let's turn to the eastern wall and see what we can find here. Just north of the northern wall east end, we see a visible offset in today's eastern wall. Looking from the Mount of Olives, this offset is located north of the East Gate, also known as the Golden Gate. I have a special episode about the East Gate. I will put a link in the description if you want to see it, so check it out. This offset is very interesting because, according to the construction models of Herod's temple, in this location a tower would stand. Additionally, next to the eastern gate at the bottom, we can see some ancient stones with a boss style dating to Solomon's time. Remember what I said, the eastern wall never changed its location due to the presence of the steep Kidron Valley. And so, the eastern side of the temple platform goes back to the very beginning when Solomon constructed the 500 cubit platform that supported the temple. So now, following the measurements of the 500 cubit square, if we follow the line from the northeast corner to the southeast corner, we can observe a bend in the eastern wall. Just guess at what point this bend shows up. No surprise here, friends. It shows up after 861 feet or 262.4 meters from the northeast corner. This is exactly where the Solomon platform ended on the eastern side. Now, if this is not amazing, and if this does not convince you where the temple stood, then I don't know what will. But let's continue, because there is more fantastic stuff. So what is this bend we can see on the eastern side of the wall? Well, it is a testimony to an enlargement made by the Hashmonians to the original temple platform. This extension was added to the temple complex around 164 BC. If you would like to learn more about the Hashmonian period, make sure you see my video on the holiday of Hanukkah. Again, I am putting a link in the description. The Hashmonians added to the temple complex a platform at a slightly different angle, which is visible today through the presence of the band. Additionally, a careful observer will see a change in the stone style starting after the 861 feet or 262.4 meters from the northeast corner. The stones after the bend have a boss style typical of the Hashmonian period. Having two lines of exactly 861 feet or 262.4 meters, we can conclude that the Mishnah was correct in providing us with the measurements of the temple platform. Solomon's temple stood on a platform of which presence is visible today. Additionally to the Hashmonian expansion to the temple platform, Herod the Great, according to Josephus, increased the size of the platform to the south, west, and north. On today's remains of the temple platform, we can see evidence of this expansion. Looking from the Mount of Olives, you can see a seam in the wall that reveals Herod's expansion. Again, we can see stones with a different boss style on both sides of the seam. You can see stones with a boss style typical of Herod's time to your left. More of such Herod stones can also be found in the lowest part of the western wall. On the northern side of the platform, you can also see holes that indicate where the portico was located. To sum up, we know where the original Solomon's platform for the temple was. We see where the Hashmonian extensions were, and we see signs of Herod expansion to the temple. Additionally, under today's Dome of the Rock, we see the highest point of Mount Moriah, where Abraham was saved from sacrificing his son Isaac. Some believe that on this massive bedrock stone, we can see a cutout indicating where the Ark of the Covenant stood. This is significant because the measurements of the cutout are the exact size of the Ark of the Covenant. The rock itself seems to show the foundation of the Holy of Holies. If this is true, this is really amazing. And so we arrived to the end of our today's episode. I hope this episode was interesting for you and you were able to learn something new. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button to receive more information on episodes on Israel's history. I kindly ask you also to consider supporting my channel. I put a lot of work into those videos and any support will be a great help for me. You can support me by either hitting a join button on my main channel webpage, or you can support me through Patreon. Thank you very much for all your support and have a great day. Shalom.